The containment field hummed with a frequency that made Nira's fur stand on end. She pressed her paw against the translucent barrier, her azure eyes fixed on the bipedal creature beyond it. The human they called Jackson. Fascinating, Jackson muttered, tapping notes into his datapad without looking up. Subject exhibits persistent curiosity despite 47 hours of observation. Nira's tail lashed, in her language a series of chirps and growls that the translation matrix struggled to parse. She said something the computer rendered as, "The soft skin thinks himself the observer." How quaint. The Gvali had ruled this sector of space for 3,000 cycles. Their empire stretched across 200 systems. Their claws had torn through the hulls of 1,000 species vessels. And their teeth had crushed the hopes of countless rebellions. They were apex predators, engineered by evolution and enhanced by technology to be perfect hunters, perfect warriors, perfect conquerors. Humans were supposed to be easy prey. Jackson finally looked up, meeting Nira's gaze with those unnervingly forward-facing eyes. Predator's eyes, she realized with a chill she would never admit aloud. "You're probably wondering why you're here," he said, his voice carrying that infuriating calm that all humans seem to possess. "I know why I'm here," Nira snarled, her translator rendering it in clipped human standard. "Your kind surrendered 6 of our warriors to avoid glassing your pathetic colony world. You think studying us will help you understand what you face. Actually, you volunteered." Jackson pulled up a holographic display, showing her own claw print on a digital contract. "In exchange for immediate release and safe passage, you agreed to participate in cultural exchange protocols." Nira's ears flattened. She had no memory of, wait, the medical facility. The injection they'd given her after the capture, claiming it was a standard decontamination protocol. When she'd awakened, there had been papers. She'd signed them thinking they were release forms. "Deception," she hissed. "Negotiation," Jackson corrected. "You're a military officer of the Cavalli Dominion. You've personally overseen the subjugation of 14 species. You've ordered orbital bombardments that killed billions. And yet here you stand, behind a barrier you could probably breach if you really tried, bound by a contract you willingly signed." He smiled, and there was something predatory in it. "Tell me, Commander Nira, who's really in the cage here?" The question gnawed at her for hours after Jackson left. She paced her containment cell, no, her habitat, as they called it, trying to find weaknesses. The humans had furnished it with approximations of Kvali comfort. Heated stone platforms, scratching posts, even a simulation of her homeworld's triple moons projected on the ceiling. It was a cage dressed as luxury, and that made it worse somehow. 3 days later, Jackson returned with another human, a female designated as Dr. Sarah Chen. "Commander Nira," Dr. Chen began, her voice gentle but firm, "we'd like to conduct a physical assessment. Nothing invasive, just basic measurements, reflex tests. It's part of the cultural exchange program." "You mean you want to catalog my weaknesses?" Nira shot back. "We want to understand you," Jackson interjected. "There's a difference." Against her better judgment, Nira agreed. The tests were indeed non-invasive, even boring. They measured her strength, impressive by human standards. Her speed, remarkable. Her sensory acuity, extraordinary. Dr. Chen seemed almost excited, taking notes with academic enthusiasm. "Your species is magnificent," Dr. Chen said, and it sounded genuine. "The perfect hunter. And yet you caught us," Nira said bitterly. 6 of the Dominion's finest warriors, captured by a species that hasn't mastered faster-than-light travel without stolen technology. Jackson and Dr. Chen exchanged glances. Then Jackson spoke. "Would you like to know how?" He didn't wait for her answer. Instead, he pulled up holovid footage from the skirmish. Nira watched herself and her pack descending on the human colony, a modest settlement of perhaps 10,000 souls. The Cavalli had expected easy pickings, slaughter the adults, claim the young for labor camps, strip the world of resources. The footage showed the ambush. Humans had hidden underground, in networks of tunnels the Cavalli scanners had dismissed as natural cave systems. They'd struck from unexpected angles with kinetic weapons, primitive, brutal, effective. They'd used the Cavalli's enhanced senses against them. Sonic grenades that had sent Nira's pack writhing in agony, chemical irritants that blinded their thermal vision, and worst of all, their own aggression turned into a trap. "You baited us," Nira whispered, watching her past self charge headlong into a corridor that collapsed, separating her from her pack. "We studied you," Jackson corrected. "For 6 months before you arrived, we analyzed every battle recording, every tactical report the Dominion broadcasts in your propaganda channels. You're apex predators. You hunt, you chase, you corner. It's instinct." He leaned forward. "But we're persistence predators, Commander. We don't have your claws or your teeth. We don't have your speed or your strength. But we have patience, planning, the ability to imagine ourselves in our enemy's position and predict their moves. We make tools," Dr. Chen added softly. "It's what we do. We're not impressive physically. We're just creative." Nira's blood chilled. "You're saying you made us into prey." "We're saying we understood the game you were playing," Jackson replied, "and we played it better." Over the following weeks, Nira's understanding of humans shifted like tectonic plates. They showed her their history, a parade of horrors that made even Kfali conquest seem tame. Humans had warred against themselves for millennia, genocide after genocide, weapon after weapon, each more terrible than the last. They'd split atoms and nearly destroyed their own world. They'd created artificial plagues, automated killing machines, weapons that could scour continents. And they'd stopped, voluntarily. They'd looked into the abyss of their own capacity for destruction and stepped back. "Why?" Nira demanded during one session. "You had the power. You had the weapons. Why didn't you conquer everything?" "Because we learned," Jackson said simply. "The hard way. We're not proud of what we've done to ourselves. But we learned that survival isn't about being the strongest. It's about being adaptable, cooperative, about knowing when the fight isn't worth fighting." "The Dominion will never learn that lesson," Nira said. "We are predators. It's our nature." "So were we," Dr. Chen replied. "Once. But nature isn't destiny, Commander. It's just a starting point." On the 40th day, Jackson opened the containment field. No ceremony, no dramatic gesture. Just a quiet click, and the barrier flickered out. "You're free to go," he said. "As per our contract, you've fulfilled your obligations. We'll provide transport to neutral space." Nira stood frozen, every instinct screaming trap. "Just like that? Just like that." Jackson gestured to the exit. "We learned what we needed to learn. Maybe you did too." Nira walked toward freedom, then paused at the threshold. "What did you learn?" "That your people," Jackson said. "Dangerous, arrogant, ruthless people, but people nonetheless, which means you can change, if you choose to." Nira left without another word, but his statement haunted her during the long journey back to Dominion space. When she delivered her report, sanitized, strategic, revealing nothing of human psychology, her superiors commended her survival. They planned new attacks, more aggressive strategies. But Nira had seen the records. She'd watched humanity's history. She'd seen what happened to predators who kept hunting when the prey learned to fight back. The Dominion believed they'd brushed against a weak species and come away unscathed. Nira knew better. The brush had lost all its teeth. They'd just been too proud to notice they were the brush, and humanity was the grinding stone. When the invasion fleets launched 6 months later, Nira quietly requested a transfer to logistics. When they asked why, she told them she'd grown weary of combat. The truth, which she'd never speak aloud, was simpler. She'd finally understood what it meant to be hunted by something that didn't need claws to kill. The humans had taught her well.